Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
Tonight on News Hour, Nigerian Air Force plane crashes in Benue State. Bauchi community threatened by flood asks government to address deplorable condition of a bridge linking them with the outside world. Contact tracing and emergency response center activated in Osun State after diphtheria outbreak. And on the foreign scene, South Africa deploys army over burning of trucks, braces for unrest over ex-president's court case. Hello and welcome to the News Hour on Trust TV. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thanks for joining. And now the details. A Nigerian Air Force trainer aircraft has crashed in Makurdi, the Benue State capital. The incident reportedly happened on Friday evening while on a routine training exercise. The NAF Director of Public Relations Office and the Information Officer, Air Commodore Edward Gabwet, confirmed this in a statement on Friday. The statement said that 2 pilots on board the aircraft survived and were being observed in a military facility. He said that there was no loss of life or damage to any property around the area of impact. The statement said that the Chief of Air Staff, Air Vice Marshal Hassan Abubakar, has constituted a board of inquiry to determine the immediate and remote cause of the crash. We have joining us Trust TV correspondent in Makurdi, Jimmy Azande, on phone now to give us an update. Hello, Jimmy. Hello, Jimmy. Hello. Okay, we'll connect to Jimmy subsequently. But for now, let's move on to other stories. People of Gwalagan, Mayaki and Bauchi State have asked the state government to redouble efforts in arresting the deplorable condition of the bridge linking them with the outside world for economic prosperity. They made the appeal on the need to mitigate the incessant collapse of the bridge on account of flood annually. Adamu Imam reports.
The Gwalagan Mayaki community said the issue of reconstruction of the bridge has been pending because of unfulfilled promises from previous governments, hoping that the current government will act fast.
That we are seeing, the water is flooded all. Here that we are staying, you cannot stay here because the water is, there is not people in that house because of that flooding. All that place that we are seeing, it is rain. When the water comes, it's flood there. They cannot access, we cannot make anything.
Abdul Hakim Abdul Rafiu, another resident, said that many residents are sleeping with one eye open, especially during rainy season.
Farmers that are doing their work here, the rain season will take it away. There is no anything they will get in their farm. We are facing a lot of challenges.
Even if we try to mitigate the impact of flood here, we cannot, because we are alone. Until government supports us, we usually contribute money from the members of this community. We were still hoping this present administration will arrest the deplorable condition of this road and the bridge as well. We have assurance, but we are still waiting for them to make lasting solution to this problem. Flooding here submerged all this area. People cannot get access to other side until after 1 to 3 hours waiting. When the water flow subsides, we cannot see anything. It is only the water that covers everywhere. It creates problem. We are saying government should rise up. It becomes worrisome to us. The bridge is collapsing every year. Although some effort have been made to mitigate the devastating effect of flood, there are still fears of unknown. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
Now, for more on the Nigerian Air Force trainer aircraft that crashed in Makurdi, the Benue State capital, we have Jimmy Azande, who is in Makurdi now for some update. Hello, Jimmy.
Good evening, Ayuba.
Good evening.
To our listeners.
Thank you so much for joining us on the news hour tonight. What can you tell us, Jimmy, about the incident in, Benue State regarding the plane of the Nigerian Air Force crashing?
Okay, thank you very much. Actually, like you introduced the story, it happened around 4 p.m. this evening, and exactly at the Air Force Base area. That is the outskirts of Makurdi town, precisely Makurdi Road. And from what the information we've gathered, no house or valuables are affected by this crash. And like you said, the information we got was former from the PRO, sort of the Air Force Authority, actually confirmed. None of the press community here is aware of the detail yet. Like you said, these two people, there's enough at the Air Force Base, and this is where we have two pilots, being observed at the moment. All I can tell you is that the Chief of Air Staff has actually, without wasting time, constituted a board of inquiry to ascertain the immediate and remote causes of this crash. But for now, the area where it happened is calm because, the press release said, there is no cause alarm, not yet.
Okay, but is there any preliminary investigation as to, what caused this incident? Yes, we know that a much more robust investigation and inquiry is going to be conducted on this, but in the meantime, is there any information as to maybe the weather or possibility of a fault on the aircraft?
Oh, like we said, like I said earlier, the press community here will try to reach out to the appropriate authority to ascertain what required of the Air Force authority.
Okay, thank you so much, Jimmy.
To some other, apart from the information that we have, tomorrow there should be an update on this matter, and then we'll get to know better what actually happened.
Okay, thank you so much, Jimmy, for the updates on the news hour.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right. Now, moving on, Osun State government has appealed to residents of the state not to panic over the outbreak of diphtheria infection in the state. After the death of the index case in the State Ministry of Health moved swiftly to contain the infection. Hamid Oegbadi reports.
The index case of diphtheria infection in Osun State was a 6-year-old boy who died on July 7th after showing symptoms. The test conducted confirmed that the boy died from the infection. The state government immediately launched contact tracing and activated emergency response center at the State Ministry of Health in Osogbo to prevent the spread of the infection in the state. The Permanent Secretary, Osun State Ministry of Health, Isiaka Adekunle, said the state government is working with the Federal Ministry of Health to prevent the spread of the infection among residents.
We only have this index case. Yes, we may have some suspected cases, but once it has not been confirmed, we cannot say, I can't say this is the number of suspected cases until there is confirmation. So for now, no other case apart from this particular one.
Adekunle appealed to residents not to panic, saying that the infection is preventable and treatable. He advised parents, especially mothers, to ensure that their children are fully vaccinated so as not to be infected.
It is a treatable disease, and above all, it is even preventable by taking immunization. Adults need not to be afraid. Adults need not to be afraid. And if our children had been fully immunized, we don't need to be afraid.
However, most people in the state are not aware of the disease, a pointer that the state government needs to intensify sensitization against the disease. Hamid Oyegbade, Trust TV News, Oshogbo.
We're now being joined by Dr. Agbo Neji Ebuta, consultant family physician and vice president, Medical Initiative for Africa. Thank you so much for joining us on the News Hour tonight, Doctor.
Thanks for having me, Ayuba.
Well, Doctor, 30 children have already died in Yobe, with 40 others hospitalized. At what stage can we say that this outbreak is of national concern?
Well, it's presently 8 states are affected. If that number increases and we have a larger geographical area, it moves from becoming an outbreak to an epidemic. And that's when it becomes of significant national concern. It's of national concern now, but it becomes an epidemic and of a higher proportion in terms of concern when most states are affected.
We hear from Osun State there, where the person interviewed couldn't tell us in terms of number of suspected cases. Are we really taking this with the desired seriousness?
Indeed, we are taking it with the desired seriousness, but the room for improvement is the largest room in development, so we can always do better, definitely. So we need to step up awareness. We need to educate our brothers and sisters on what the symptoms are and what they need to do. We need to increase and retrain our health workers at all levels to have a high index of suspicion and train them clearly on initial steps to take and when to refer to a higher level. We basically also would need to increase access to testing, access to interventions. We need to provide antibiotics that will be readily available and effective to mitigate the progression of the disease. And where we suspect that patients have toxemia, we need to be able to assess toxins to address whatever toxic effect the toxins are basically causing. And apart from that, we need to work on vaccination. We have about 5 states in Nigeria: Sokoto, Zamfara, Kebbi, Gombe, Bayelsa, and their vaccination uptake is less than 20%. Some of the states have vaccination of 5-10%. Some of the states affected, like Kano, their vaccination uptake based on the Nigerian Demographic Health Survey in 2018, which has implication now, is around between 20 and 30%. So these are the reasons why we are having outbreaks like this, and vaccination because of poor uptake of vaccinations in certain parts of the country. Some states have very high levels. So to a large extent, poor vaccination has led us here, apart from other things. A weak healthcare system like we have, where we have 30,000 primary healthcare centers, but we only have like 6,000 functional. And how do you vaccinate children if you have only about less than 30% of your health centers functioning? You cannot deliver that. Of course, security has also been an issue in the last couple of years.
Okay, so in that context, how confident are you on our health institutions to contain this disease in the case of an epidemic eventually, if it turns to, or if it gets to that level?
Well, if it turns to an epidemic event, I think we have the capacity, we have the ability, we will be able, with hard work, focus, and political will. I don't think there's anything we cannot achieve that is achievable that we cannot achieve as Nigerians. Once we do the work, we focus, we are diligent, and there's political will.
Okay, what should our viewers do right now as they are watching this to prevent, contracting this disease in a few sentences?
Well, the age that are most affected are under 5 and more than 40, especially young children. If they should confirm if their wards have been vaccinated. If not, they should ensure vaccination. When their wards have any symptoms suggestive of upper respiratory tract infection, they should present early to health facilities, and where there is a high index of suspicion, medication should be commenced. Apart from that, people should maintain the regular etiquettes of when they have upper respiratory tract infection. In terms of the government and in terms of other key stakeholders, stakeholders. We need to work on our healthcare system. We need to increase access to healthcare. We need to increase. Today, we have one doctor attending to 10,000 Nigerians, which is a far cry from what we have in 2011, where we had one doctor to 2,500 Nigerians. That is poised to get worse. So we need to come up with a bold, innovative strategies to start addressing this health system challenge. Nurses, pharmacies, healthcare centers, and all of that. We need to work on that.
All right. Dr. Abo Neji Ebuta, thank you so much for joining us on the News Hour tonight.
Pleasure. Thank you too.
Dr. Abo is a consultant family physician and Vice President Medical Initiative for Africa. Now, the Presidential Election Petition Court has reserved judgment in the petition by the Allied People's Movement. APM is seeking the nullification of Tinubu's election on the grounds that his running mate, Kashim Shettima, was not qualified to contest, having allegedly engaged in double nomination. After parties adopted their final written addresses, the chairman of the panel, Justice Haruna Tsammani, announced that judgment was reserved until a date to be communicated to parties. Justice Tsammani added that the court plans to deliver judgment in the petition by the APM the same day with those of the People's Democratic Party and the Labour Party. Respondents in the petition are the Independent Electoral Commission, that's the Independent National Electoral Commission, the APC, Tinubu, Shettima and Kabir Masari, who acted as APC's placeholder before Shettima's nomination. The APM's petition is anchored on the sole ground of non-eligibility of the APC presidential ticket, wherein they have raised the issue of placeholder Kabiru Masari as the vice presidential nominee of the APC and his eventual replacement with Kashim Shettima. Adamawa State Governorship Election Tribunal has fixed July 21 for final judgment in a petition filed by the SDP governorship candidate, Dr. Umar Ardo, seeking for cancellation of the election. At a resumed hearing in Yola on Friday, the tribunal listened to arguments of legal counsel to parties in the matter. Parliament is seen as the bastion of democracy in the presidential system of government. So many petitions have emanated from the 2023 general elections, but the attention of media seems to be focused on petitions at the Presidential and Governorship Elections Tribunal. Yusuf Akogu interrogates why there is a glaring neglect of cases involving national and even state assembly elections.
The legislature is the closest institution of democracy to the people. As the only arm of government that offers the largest representation of citizens, it is naturally structured to guarantee citizens' participation in decision-making process in all realms of lawmaking, oversight, representation, and constituency services. In spite of the fundamental role the national and subnational legislature play in a democratic system, many Nigerians are not concerned enough about this arm of government. Some citizens are concerned not much priority has been given to the coverage of the judicial proceedings of the National Assembly election petitions.
Don't want people to start, further demeaning this democracy. The media, as an appeal, we have to rise to the occasion and ensure that people knows about when the election petition tribunal for presidency is going on. Almost every Nigerian on WhatsApp, on Facebook, on social media, on TV, or even in print media, they know everything about the facts of that case. But in the National Assembly matters, people hardly know anything going on, and any judgment can come, and which may affect the people. Another thing is that the media is the only body that can effectively exercise oversight on the judiciary.
Myself, I don't even know if my representative is in court or not. If there's any conversation about that, I've never seen it on the print media, I've never seen it on on television. So this conversation is very important because we cannot suppress, we cannot allow the system or the executive or whichever, or the judiciary to suppress the visibility of the legislature.
If the general public believe that lawmakers are critical stakeholders in a democracy, who then should be blamed for the lack of attention from the media?
The media has the responsibility of educating and enlightening the citizens that you guys, where you focus your attention may not be where your help lies. And then educating constitutionally and the roles each of these layers of government play.
The imbalance in the reportage of election petitions emanating from legislative elections cannot be denied. The onus is therefore on watchdog institutions to retool the approach to election petition reportage in Nigeria. Yusuf Akogu, Trust Television News, Abuja.
Meanwhile, a Federal Capital Territory High Court has dismissed the case against former governor of Imo State Senator Rochas Okorocha, instituted by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. The court described the EFCC's charges of fraud and abuse of office as an abuse of judicial process. The presiding judge, Justice Yusuf Halilu, premised his judgment on the fact that the EFCC had filed a similar charge against the former Imo State governor at the Federal High Court. A case was decided upon in favor of the former governor in December last year. In a similar vein, another Abuja High Court has avoided the arrest and detention of the suspended Central Bank Governor Godwin Emefiele by the Department of State Services. Delivering judgment, Justice Bello Kawu held that the arrest, detention and interrogation of Mr. Emefiele is in violation of the subsistent judgment and orders of Justice M.A. Hassan. Emefiele, through his counsel, Peter Abang, had asked the court to set aside and nullify the arrest and detention of the applicant for being illegal and a nullity in view of the subsistent judgment by another court delivered on 29th of December 2022. Justice Kawu also made an order setting aside any warrant of arrest obtained or procured by the respondents, especially the DSS, for the arrest of Emefiele in connection with the allegations of terrorism financing, fraudulent practices, money laundering, threat to national security before any court. The court further granted an injunction restraining the respondents, particularly the DSS, from arresting, detaining or interfering with Emefiele's personal liberty and freedom of movement. The court finally granted an order of injunction directing and mandating the respondents, particularly the DSS, to forthwith release Emefiele from any arrest or detention. A Federal High Court, Abuja, on Friday adjourned a suit filed by Alhassan Doguwa until September 25 to allow the Kano State government to study the outcome of the police report on allegation of murder leveled against him, the lawmaker that is. Now, Justice Donatus Okoro adjourned the matter following an oral application by counsel to the governor and the state attorney general, Maliki Umar, to allow him study Exhibit 10, police report annexed to the further and better affidavit filed by Doguwa in response to their objection. Upon resumed hearing, Umar, while disagreeing with Afam Osigwe SAN, who represented Doguwa, said that the state government was not looking for the lawmaker because of the violence that erupted during the February 25 presidential election and the National Assembly election in Kano, or on the firearm issue. He said, contrary to the argument of the council, Doguwa is wanted in Kano to answer to the allegation of homicide preferred against him by the state government. Now, theft and removal of manhole meant to cover public utilities in Abuja is posing risk and safety concerns to human lives and property among residents. However, Police Commissioner in the capital city, Haruna Garba, said some arrests of perpetrators have been made and some of the stolen manholes recovered. The report.
Manhole gives access to public utility for maintenance purpose, but manhole cover in Abuja are stolen and sold. Many residents said the trend, if left unchecked, can lead to unpleasant consequences. Police Commissioner Haruna Garba urged residents to contribute their quota in arresting the situation to bring an end to this vandalization.
What they should do as a patriotic Nigerians is to alert police and other sister security agencies to apprehend them. But where you see them and you turn your ways to the other side, you are not patriotic enough. And in any case, as a private citizen, you can make arrest and then hand over to law enforcement agencies immediately after that arrest. When you see a scavenger removing manhole and you are 2 or 3 of you can apprehend one person and stop that act from taking place, and then you report promptly.
Some Abuja residents said that the scavengers, also known as Babambola, are to be blamed for this theft.
All these Babambolas, all these scavengers, they are the people responsible for removing all these things. And the danger of this is, if it is a night, when there is no light, when vehicles enters, it can tumble or it can burst your tire, and that will lead to an accident.
Months back, I came back from mosque. Although it's my fault, I concentrate on my phone. So I mistakenly fall inside the manhole, and I was injured in my leg.
Those Agboro, those Babambora, that is my understanding. Because there's no one can come and remove those covers.
Lack of maintenance and continuity. I believe these things were provided by somebody. And maybe the next person that took over felt unconcerned. The only thing I know government can do is to provide security for all these things. You can see it is a hole. Maybe it's deep enough that someone can hide inside.
Those that are removing it, they should be able to be arrested. Because by doing that, if they leave it like that, everything will get damage in the country.
There should be a special maybe task force that will be patrolling the road, I think, every day. That is what government should do. And if there are ways they can do that, they cannot be removed. That is left for the government to do that.
They called on government to ensure measures are put in place to bring an end to this incessant theft of the manhole covers across the city. Dokazala, Trust TV News, Abuja.
National Youth Service Corps members deployed to Plateau State have taken oath of allegiance amidst tight security at YA Foundation, the temporary camp located in Jos North local government area. Security personnel, including soldiers and policemen, were deployed to the new camp due to the security challenges in the state. Ado Musa reports.
Oath of allegiance is administered on the Batch B Stream 1 prospective corps members by the State Chief Judge amid tight security to ensure smooth conduct of the ceremony. NYSC State Coordinator Esther Ekupelet, while addressing the corps members, said the decision to relocate the camp from its permanent site in Mangu was because of the security challenges in the area, appealing to them to be law-abiding during the period of the 3 weeks orientation exercise.
The 2023 Batch B Stream 1 orientation course commenced on Wednesday with almost 2,000 corps members. We are still counting, that is why I cannot give you the exact number. I also wish to assure you that the state has put in place necessary measures to ensure your safety, welfare, and general well-being during the service year.
The state governor, Caleb Mutfwan, represented by his deputy, Josephine Pio, said the administration will continue to provide an enabling environment to the corps members, despite the security challenges.
The time is now to secure the future of the people and to make a deliberate effort to developing the land for the people, by the people, with the people.
Some of the corps members shared their views on the prevailing security challenges in the state.
Security challenges may come in this way. I've not really observed anything challenging concerning security. The government has really done work trying to curtail the insecurities.
This is the first time being in the north and coming to Plateau State. And while on my way coming here, I saw some beautiful places which I found convincing enough that might convince me to stay behind after this 3 weeks camp.
I was scared. That was why I couldn't come by road. I had to fly. I was like, so that Boko Haram do not attack us. And I got here and everything was peaceful and calm out.
The prospective corps members are expected to stay at the new camp for the next 3 weeks of the orientation exercises. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
You're watching the News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up shortly, we'll take a look at love affair turned sour. Details and more after the break.
That's right. You too could be one of the 20 Zenith Bank customers that will win 150,000 Naira every 2 weeks from June 1st, 2023 until May 31st, 2024 in the Zenith Better Life Promo 3. To qualify, simply open a Zenith Bank account. For more information, visit www.zenithbank.com/betterlife. Live the better life with Zenith Bank.
Keep a date with Housing Development Program, 6 p.m. every Sunday on Trust TV. Housing Development is the first and pioneer housing program in Nigeria and by extension, Africa. It remains the authentic voice of the Nigerian housing and construction industry. Housing Development is the only credible and specialized platform for seasoned professionals in the built industry, where quality and credible players in the real estate sector meet to interact, showcase and analyze government policies. It is no doubt that hundreds of thousands of prospective Nigerians who desire to own their personal property have done so through the assistance of Housing Development Program in the last 10 years. If you are a stakeholder in the built industry, here is where you must be. We are authentic, credible, and supported by all the leading professionals in the built industry. Housing Development on Trust TV.
Sounds like you're disappointed with the current lot.
We are outside, me and you, regardless. We could have done better.
That you don't have to sacrifice your conviction. We cannot settle for what is bad.
I sacked a governor because of misappropriating 300,000 naira.
The clamor by the SSC was a unitary form of government. This doesn't go well with Savannah. So when we said we wanted self-government for Nigeria in 96, so look, count me out.
What you call goal, aims and directives. But the issue of joining politics simply because you want to be given job or to be given contract.
Removing the assumptions, the foundations of their fears, and at the end of it, each and every one of them seems to be surprised.
I was posted to Guachuku. My job was to go from community to community, educating the people how to improve themselves. Government will come to help
you. Welcome back. You're watching the News Hour on Trust TV. Here's a look at the top stories. Nigerian Air Force plane crashes in Benue State. Bauchi community threatened by flood ask government to address deplorable condition of a bridge linking them with the outside world. In other stories, National Drug Law Enforcement Agency destroyed 25 tons of illicit drugs. Abubakar Imam reports that the items were destroyed at Baga village in Wamako local government area of Sokoto State, with heads of security agencies in the state in attendance. The report.
The drugs destroyed includes 14,561 632 kilograms of cannabis sativa, 2,710 243 kilograms of psychotropic substances, 4 grams of cocaine, and 8,195 263 kilograms of codeine-based syrup. Speaking at the event, the chairman of the agency, Brigadier General Muhammad Buba Marwa, retired, said 400 suspects were arrested in connection with the drugs, out of which over 95% were successfully convicted. Marwa added that the agency had in the last 2 years seized 6.3 million kilograms of illicit drugs nationwide and arrested 32,000 drugs offenders, including 35 barons. He further said that 5,147 convictions were secured by the agency in the period under review. The chairman, who was represented by the director Legal and Prosecution, Josephine Obi, however, decried the prevalence of snobs, shisha, akuskura, and methamphetamine, otherwise called ice, in the state, which they were being mixed with other hard substances that are even dangerous than codeine and heroin to increase their potency and addictive tendency.
The destructive effects of drug abuse and illicit trafficking in our society is no longer a myth. Virtually all the social vices and criminal behaviors like kidnapping, banditry, cultism, rape, robbery, killings, etc. are drug-induced.
Governor Ahmed Aliyu, who was represented by the Special Assistant Administration, Barrister Gandhi Umar, noted that public destruction of dangerous drugs was a strong warning to drugs couriers, barons, and cartels that illicit drugs trade must be substituted with a legitimate business.
I assure you that the Sokoto State government, under my leadership, is ever ready to align itself with the international best practices and the interventions on hard drugs control. In line with this, our government is ready to support and partner with NDLEA in this very important process.
The state commander of NDLEA, Adamu Iro Muhammad, said the destruction was the first of its kind since the creation of the command.
I therefore wish to once again welcome you as you come to make history with us, where over 25 tons of assorted illicit drugs will be set ablaze publicly. Ladies and gentlemen, public destruction of exhibit upon court order is one of the cardinal policies or strategies of Brigadier General Buba Marwa's administration. And this is necessary in order to stop the illicit drugs from possible circulation into the society.
The Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammad Saad Abubakar, who is represented by the district head of Wamoko, Aliyu Barade, while calling on the people of the state to shun all forms of drugs abuse, congratulates NDLEA for the success it recorded. Abubakar Awal Imam reporting for Trust TV.
Police in Osun State have arrested a 17-year-old girl, Victoria Ayante, for allegedly conniving with her male friends to rob her lover. The Commissioner of Police in the state, Kehinde Longe, said that the girl and her suspected accomplices robbed the man to the tune of 1.5 million naira. Hamid Oyegbade reports.
The suspect, a 17-year-old girl, Ayante Victory, met a Lagos-based lover on the social media. She allegedly lured the man to Ikire town in Osun State from Lagos and conspired with her male friends to rob the man. The other suspects, Adeleke Okpeyemi and Ariyo Abayomi, withdrew 1.5 million naira from the bank account of their victim.
So he came, so after I hung up the call, so when my boyfriend heard everything, because I put the phone on speaker, after my boyfriend heard everything, so he was telling me that like he wants to know the guy, like for the guy to be bold like that, like I was thinking my boyfriend wanted to tell him that after the guy, this guy like baby, something like that. So not there when they collected money from the guy, because I went to my hostel there, but I heard they collected 1.4 million. Your name, how old are you? What's your name? I'm 17 years old.
The Commissioner of Police in the state, Kehinde Longe, condemned the action of the girl and her male friends. He said they will be charged to court.
A young man of age 29 met a young lady on the social media, probably on a dating site, I wouldn't know. He got interested in that lady. He had to leave Lagos to come down to Ikire in Osun State because I think the young man fell in love with the lady. He lodged in an hotel. The lady was able to bring him to come to her house. In the process, the lady and her cohorts arrested him. alleged that he wanted to rape the young lady. In the process, his phones were taken, his ATM card taken. He was stripped naked, humiliated. He had to be forced to divulge his PIN number, and instrumentally they withdrew 100,000. And when they knew there was sufficient money in there, before he knew it, 1.4 million was removed.
The police chief advised Nigerians to be careful with who they interact with on the social media so as not to fall victim of unscrupulous people. Amid Oyegbade, Trust TV News, Oshogbo.
In a similar vein, police in Lagos State on Friday paraded 26 suspected criminals for various offences like cultism, murder and pipeline vandalism in the state. Victoria Tokolo reports that among the 27 suspects, one is a female.
Lagos State Police Commissioner has said under his watch, no kind of criminality will be allowed in the state. Parading the 27 suspected criminals who are into cultism and pipeline vandalism, the commissioner said his men recovered 2 motorcycles, 1 unregistered Toyota Corolla, 7 locally made pistols, 1 blue beret with cultism logo, 1 knife, 1 axe, and multiple of charms from the suspects. The police public relations officer of the command, Benjamin Hudain, who represented the state commissioner, speaks on what the command is doing to guard against activities of criminals in Lagos.
Concerning the pipeline vandalism, police complicity, I'll leave that at what it is for now, accusation. When any one of them is arrested, then we can confirm that yes, there's complicity on the part of police. But true, that's a concern many people have raised. Police complicity, not just police, let's say security agencies, their complicity. And this is an ongoing investigation about the one in Dimo. We have 1 suspect. We also have other suspects we have not arrested. We have their identity, we have their location, and in
The suspects are from different areas of the state, from Mushi, Okomaiko, Iba, Agege, and Idimo area of Lagos State. The police image maker urged parents to take responsibility of their children, as most of them join cult groups through peer pressure.
They mix with the wrong crowd and they succumb to peer pressure. So it is something that should be a collective responsibility. For us, we are doing our part to enforce the law, to arrest perpetrators and get them prosecuted. But societal leaders, too, parents, guardians, too, need to keep tabs on their children. So it's not enough that your children go to school and come back. You should go the extra mile to ask what happened in school today. It's not enough for your teenage child to say, I'm going for a birthday party. You should go the extra mile to ask questions about the party. And when they come back from the party, what's really transpired at the party. Because most of the people that get initiated do get initiation at parties, sometimes even behind their school. Is that crazy? Sometimes after or during break or after school, behind the school premises. So I'm saying that while we play our part, we also encourage everybody out there to also join hands to monitor the vulnerable demographic, the youths. We need to monitor them and see what they do.
The Commissioner of Police, Idowu Ohunwa, through the Public Relations Officer, said that fight against crimes in the society requires collective responsibility.
Farmers in Zaria attribute lack of patronage of improved seeds produced by research institutes to high cost and high consumption of fertilizers. This is according to them, is because improved seed demand high quantity of assorted fertilizer on farmlands to achieve bumper harvest. Abubakar Sadiq sent in this report.
In Zaria have attributed high cost of assorted fertilizer to factors causing lack of patronage on improved seed. These, according to them, is because improved seed demand high quality of assorted fertilizer on farmlands to ensure bumper harvest. A peasant farmer in Zaria, Salisu Ahmed, said inflation is one of the factors hindering farmers from using improved seeds in their farm. He pointed out that any farmer using improved seed must require a substantial amount of fertilizer in order to record high yield at the end of harvest year.
Well, not only the issue of the high cost, and it consumes a lot of fertilizer, because in our normal sense, we are using ordinary material fertilizer like manure. The ordinary manure, we are using it in ordinary seed. So by accepting the new seeds, it will taking us a high cost of using fertilizer, and you must use the modern fertilizer in that case.
Ahmed blamed the skyrocketing cost of assorted fertilizer to the major reason farmers are avoiding use of improved seed on their farmland. Adamu Mohammed, who is also a peasant farmer in Zaria, corroborated reasons given by Salisu Ahmed for lack of adequate utilization of improved seed by farmers. He said farmers have largely reverted to using locally produced seed instead of the improved seed because it costs less and can accommodate local manure rather than assorted fertilizer. Mohammed, however, suggested that government shall subsidize the price of both improved seed and assorted fertilizer to make them affordable to farmers for maximum productivity. In his contribution, an agronomist from the Department of Agronomy, Faculty of Agriculture, Institute of Agricultural Research, ABU Zaria, Professor Adamu Salisu Dadari, said farmers could no longer access improved seed due to high inflation.
Farmers no improved yield and give you 6 to 8 tons per hectare for me. But despite the fact farmers work hard with the local, with the other input they have with their maize, they call it or Syria.
The agronomist generally attributed corruption by government officials as one of the key factors leading to high cost of agricultural input in Nigeria. Professor Dadari advised government to look into the plight of Nigerian farmers with a view to strengthening agricultural production in the country.
We are imploring the government to look at this critically. No country develops without agriculture. No country economy becomes buoyant without agriculture. Education, agriculture, and health are fundamental for any nation to see light, for any nation to grow.
He urged government at all levels to prevail on government officials, especially in the Ministry of Agriculture, to enable farmers benefit from the subsidized agricultural policies and loan provisions. Abubakar Sadiq Mohammed, Trust TV News, Zaria.
Time now to take a quick break, and when we return, the news hour continues. Join us again.
That's great.
If you are just joining us, this is the news update on Trust TV. Now, a recap of our top stories.
For me, I have my 8 years, and I think I have enough.
A challenge to serve in line with the oath I have taken today.
Commander of the Board of Directors of the Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation.
And an end to poverty.
Bauchi State residents are appealing to stakeholders in the oil sector to consider the plight of
Killing in Maraban Jama'a Okaru in Plateau State.
I'm confident that he has what it takes to turn Nigeria around.
Of FCT residents on the need to give Gen Z a proper orientation.
When a country organizes a credible election, both the government and the opposition will work.
Welcome back. You're watching the News Hour on Trust TV. It's now time to take a look at business updates with Chiamaka Nwafo.
Foreign investments to the manufacturing sector dropped by 35% from $392.5 million in the fourth quarter of 2022 to $256 million in the first quarter of 2023. The National Bureau of Statistics Capital Importation Report for 2023 Quarter 1 also showed that importation into Nigeria in Quarter 1 2023 stood at $1.1 billion, lower than $1.5 billion recorded in Quarter 1 2022, indicating a decrease of 28%. Despite the decrease, capital importation into the production sector ranked second with 22% share of total investments, while the banking sector recorded the highest inflow of $304.5 million, representing 26.89% of total capital imported in Quarter 1 2023. The Manufacturers Association of Nigeria had warned in recent months that the increasingly harsh business environment occasioned by high energy costs, lack of access to funding, multiple taxation, among others, had scaled down investments into the sector. And finally, in stocks, the Nigerian equities market ended the week with a negative performance as the total value of listed equities fell by 98 billion naira on Friday. The market experienced a slight dip of 0.29% and ended the week at 34.09 trillion naira on Friday. This represents a minor decrease from Thursday's closing of 34.167 trillion naira. Friday ended with the all-share index declining by 0.34% to 62,569.73 points. The total value of shares traded was 8.83 billion naira, which was 15.5% lower than the 10.45 billion naira recorded in the previous session. The decline in share demand resulted in a 1.62 billion drop in the market's transaction value. On aggregate, 600.49 million units of shares valued at 8.83 billion naira were traded in 9,554 deals. And that's it on Business News. I am Chiamaka Nwafo.
Thank you, Chiamaka Nwafo. Now, on the foreign scene, South Africa has deployed the army in 4 of its provinces on Friday after at least 21 trucks carrying goods were set on fire on national roads in various parts of the country over the past week. Authorities have not established the motive for the attacks, but Police Minister Bheki Cele said that there is a possibility of economic sabotage against South Africa. He did not say who might be behind the campaign, but police are hunting for at least 12 people believed to be linked to the attacks. Cele said that there was no evidence that the truck burning was connected to the week-long violence and unrest in July 2021, when more than 350 people were killed and businesses were looted. Now, Cele said that 21 trucks had been burned down since Sunday in the Limpopo, Mpumalanga, and KwaZulu-Natal provinces. Sunday, when the truck burning apparently started, was the second anniversary of the start of the 2021 violence. Authorities have not reported any deaths or serious injuries related to the torching of the trucks. The United States saw a record of 28 mass killings in the first half of 2023, the Associated Press has reported, as policymakers struggle to curb gun violence across the country. The AP analysis published on Friday said 140 victims were killed during that period, all but one of the mass killings incidents in which 4 or more people are slain, not including the perpetrator. A database maintained by the Associated Press and USA Today in partnership with Northeastern University has been tracking large-scale violence since 2006. Gun laws have been a polarized political issue in the U.S. While Democrats call for tighter regulations, Republicans view gun ownership as an unquestionable right granted by the Second Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. And in sports news, former Manchester City and France footballer Benjamin Mendy broke down in tears on Friday as a UK jury cleared him of sex offences, ending a 3-year court ordeal. Mendy, 28, put his head on his knees and wiped away tears on hearing the verdict at the end of the 3-week trial at Chester Crown Court in northwest England. The jury of 6 men and 6 women took around 3 hours and 15 minutes to reach their not guilty verdict on 1 count of rape and another of attempted rape. The star footballer, who would have faced a lengthy jail term if convicted, had previously been cleared in January of 6 counts of rape and 1 of sexual assault following a 6-month trial. But jurors in that trial had been unable to reach a verdict on 2 other counts, resulting in a retrial. Mendy, whose contract with Manchester City expired at the end of June, had denied all the charges against him. And that's a wrap on the News Hour for tonight. You can watch more via all our social media platforms and also on our YouTube live stream. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.
From the Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.